All right, folks, I guess we may as well get started. There may be some people join us as we go. We've got about 130 people in this class, give or take, and about 10% participation in this, which is fine. This is not mandatory in any way. This is just going to be a weekly opportunity to kind of catch up and see what's going on administratively. I will record these. If I find that no one is participating, I'll discontinue them. But I like to give everyone a platform once a week, especially at the start of the week, to ask their questions and make sure they understand what's going on for the week. So first and foremost, welcome to Trent for many of you folks, and welcome to COIS1620, Introduction to Information Systems. We typically we have about 300 students that take this each year, and previously we offered it only once a year, but the administrations decided to offer this every single term. So fall, winter, and spring terms going through. So we're seeing a little smaller class size this time around than normal. I have been teaching this for 3 or 4 years now, online and in person, both at the Durham campus and the Peterborough campus, of course, pre-COVID. And at some point, I suspect we'll go back to teaching this in person, but not currently, of course. So, like I said, my goal with this office hours isn't to particularly teach anything, though I will answer questions if there's something specific that's not understood. It's mostly administrative in nature. So I've got a few different topics I want to cover today and sort of set the scene for the term. The first thing that I want to talk about is the mandatory course requirements quiz. So that's a 22-question quiz. I would say a third of the class has completed it. You do it as many times as it takes in order to get it perfect. So what it does for you is outlines what my expectations are more clearly, and moreover gives me acknowledgement that you know. The problem that I've faced in the past is that I've done these office hours and I talk about my expectations, and the people that don't attend them and don't watch the videos never figure it out for the entire term. So I struggle with those, and I get feedback at the end of the term. Well, you weren't clear on your expectations. Well, I wrote it in the syllabus. I wrote it in the weekly materials, and I spoke about it verbally and on video, and you never attended it. So that's kind of why I'm doing it. I want everyone to understand what the expectations are up front, and between it and the academic integrity module, you have to have both of those complete and full marks in both in order to see the quizzes. So the quizzes are worth, I think, 10%, maybe 15% in the course. If you don't complete those two, you'll never, a quiz will never show for you. So please do get those done. At this point, I've always got to take the academic integrity module, take a look at the scan the screenshot that you've sent me, and acknowledge that shows that you've completed it. But now that the mandatory course requirements quiz is late, I have to look at that as well, just because it's late in Blackboard. So there's no problem with it being late, and the academic integrity module is my fault because the class wasn't properly enrolled, or they didn't manage to enroll everyone in the academic integrity module. It's optional. So that caused lots of chaos and lots of email for me over the weekend, probably 40 or 50 email saying I can't see the academic integrity module. So that brings up another good point. Please always check the announcements. I will communicate with the class through announcements. So my expectation would be that you are on Blackboard at least once every 2 days. Probably every day is a really good idea, and that you check those announcements on your way into the course. Just make sure that you're current. There is also a place that I've called general discussions. where you can chat as a group. It's just a discussion board, and you can ask questions. It's a slower way than emailing me because I only look probably once every 24 hours at it. But your peers may be able to answer the question for you. And if you see something that you know the answer to, feel free to weigh in and let your peer know that you've already asked that question and here's the answer. So we've got sort of multiple ways to communicate, and beyond the office hours, I'm more than happy to set up individual hours with anyone that's struggling or that has some concern or wants to ask a question. What I don't want to do, what I certainly do not want to do, is get into a tutoring situation. I cannot tutor 130 people. So this is guided, but it's essentially self-directed learning at this point. So I prepare lectures that are pre-canned that you should go through. I do these office hours. There's readings to be done, etc. And you need to do those things in order to progress well through the course. The other big key, and it sounds almost ridiculous to say it, is you need to own the textbook. So let me say that again. You need to own the textbook. I would recommend very strongly that you buy the electronic version, because we're going to have an open book midterm, and it's a whole lot easier to do a Control F to find a keyword in your text than it is to flip through manual pages of a textbook. I have had numerous people in the various courses that I teach reach out to me, do an individual office hours and say to me, I'm really struggling with these quizzes. And my first question is, do you own the text? And their answer is no. And I don't know what to do at that point. So the text is key. My lectures are in addition to the text, and the idea is to make the text more digestible, give you some real world examples, perhaps, maybe say things in a different way than the text does, deliver the message in a different way. But my lectures are not meant to be comprehensive. The book is what the course is based on. The book is what the quizzes are based on. The book is what the midterm is based on. The book is what the final exam is based on. So buy the book. Okay. It's not my book, by the way. I'm not making any money from promoting the book, but it is absolutely essential to have access to that book to do well in the course. Okay. I see a quick question. Will marks be taken off if you do the test late? So if we're just talking about the mandatory course requirements and the academic integrity modules, the stuff that ideally would have been done last week, except for the hiccups that we already talked about, there's no marks to be deducted. They're not worth any marks. You just have to complete them. Take a look at the syllabus, please. If you're late submitting your quiz, or you don't get to your quiz, it's done. I don't reopen quizzes. There's no expectation that I'm going to accommodate you in any way if you missed a quiz. So I will make the content for the week available on Saturday mornings at midnight. So meaning Friday night at midnight, I guess, very, very, very first thing on Saturday morning. So you've got from that time until Friday at midnight, 1 minute before midnight, actually, to submit your quiz. So don't leave it to the last minute. Don't get stuck, on Friday night at 11:45, opening up your quiz and trying to cram it through. The quizzes aren't particularly hard, but they certainly are. They require some effort and some comprehension of the text. So the purpose of the quizzes is just to keep the students reading the text week by week. When I first taught the course, I did not do quizzes on a weekly basis. And what I found was when we got to the midterm, everyone blew their brains out because they hadn't done any reading to that point, and they got 40% on the midterm. So the idea is just to keep you going week by week, keep some momentum here. This course will go pretty fast. It always goes surprisingly fast. So just keep up with it, get in a routine. get your midterms in. Look ahead each week, and we'll discuss that in this office hours. See what's coming up for the week, and make sure you know where you need to devote your time. So that's sort of what I have to say about the mandatory course requirements and the academic integrity modules. Does anyone have any questions at this point about that? And feel free to put them in chat or jump in on the video, whichever you want. And I'll just keep trying to answer people's questions.
I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it still time? Can we upload the modules when we're done? Is it still time to upload them? The academic integrity and the required.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have to get those done. They're technically late, but again, they're not worth any marks, so it doesn't matter. Until you have both those done and full marks in both of them, you won't be able to see the quizzes. So they're a prerequisite to seeing quizzes. And you probably get the pattern of how I operate, but I found that the reason I require academic integrity modules and acknowledgement of that is because I have a lot of cheating, and the school has a lot of cheating, and whether that's plagiarism or cheating on exams or whatever form of cheating. And there should be no way that any student can say, I didn't know I couldn't copy word for word from the text. I didn't know that I wasn't able to do the exam with my 3 best friends, those sorts of things, right? So that locks that in, and I'll take just a moment to go down that path. I am merciless with academic integrity violations. I don't by any extent think that I find everyone. I don't. But when I do find one and my investigation reveals that it is cheating, I will go to the full extent that I'm able to, which involves just pushing that to the head of the department, who then pushes it to the dean, and it ends up, if it is a legitimate academic integrity violation, then you end up with a mark on your record, on your actual transcript, or as strong as being evicted. So I don't have any tolerance for that. And those of you that are trying to do things the right way, I feel that I protect the integrity of your marks by keeping the people that are cheating as much as I can from getting those kinds of marks as well. So to me, it's just a question of morals. It's very simple. So
I have a
yeah, go ahead.
So I did the mandatory course requirement thing and the AIM module. So are you supposed to see the quiz right now? Or?
No, because probably you've done them late, right?
Yeah, I did it today, the AIM module.
So I have to manually mark those, and that's why I've said to various people, I don't really care when you have them done. I'd like you to get them done sooner rather than later, but give me a day or two before you want to do that quiz, because I don't just jump online. I just periodically during the day go on, and I'll just mark all those or acknowledge all those to make sure that they're legit and that they're submitted properly. So
okay, all right.
It'll come in. I don't know, like I marked some just as I was waiting here. I don't know if I've got one person that has done the academic integrity module since we started, but other than that, I've marked everything. So review your marks. So there's a possibility that something that you did wasn't completely right, and I will have left you feedback. So you need to have perfect on your mandatory course requirements. So 22 out of 22, and you need a 1 out of 1 on your academic integrity. So sometimes people will submit a screenshot, but it won't have their name in the picture. And that doesn't do me any good. I need to see that it's your academic integrity, for instance, or maybe someone got 21 out of 22 on the mandatory course requirements quiz, and they got to do that again until they get that perfect. Okay, so use Blackboard, check the feedback. I'll always leave feedback for anything like this, whether that's your assignments or whatever. Not so much the quizzes; those are automatically marked because they're just multiple choice and true false. Okay.
I looked at my grades and it's already marked, both of them.
So what you're saying is you've got a 1 out of 1 on your academic integrity and a 22 out of 22 on your mandatory course requirements.
Yes.
And if you go over to the tab that is assessments, you can't see the quiz.
Assessment. Okay, never mind. I see it. I didn't scroll all the way down. Sorry.
Yep. That brings up a good point. Take a stroll through Blackboard. A lot of you, it's your first time with Blackboard. This is what Trent uses. You'll be using this for the next 3 or 4 years or whatever if you're new. And it's not the most intuitive for sure. There are tabs on the side that say Blackboard help and resources and library subject guides. Those are prepared by Trent itself. So if you have some problems, it might be worth diving down into those 2 tabs for some more information. I'm happy to help out, but like I said, there's 130 students in the class, so we can't really help everyone out individually. But if you're really stuck on something, feel free to reach out and we'll sort it out for you. It's worth saying that I have help in this course as well. Jordan Hurley is the workshop leader. He and I have worked together many times on quite a few different courses. He is excellent. He is unfailingly polite and happy to help people out. And he's usually pretty quick to respond. So don't feel bad if you send an email. Feel free to send it to myself and Jordan, and whoever gets to it first will respond to you. Please put the subject in the course code in the subject line. Right now, I only have 1 course, but I often have 3 or more courses. And my biggest email response is usually which course, what course are you talking about? So please put it in the subject line, get in that habit, because maybe some other prof that you're dealing with is teaching 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 courses as well. So it really helps to communicate to put that in the subject line. So, and that's of course a question on the mandatory course requirements as well, that you should be doing that. So will the quizzes be released 1 a week or all at once? 1 a week. Everything's going to come out 1 a week for you. So that's going to be that very early morning Saturday. You're going to get the next week, even before the week really starts, because the week really starts on the Monday. You'll have the weekend to get ahead if you want for the next week's work. I just try and give you that opportunity. I know everyone's working on different schedules. Some of you are in Peterborough. Some of you could be absolutely anywhere else in the world. So I'm sensitive to the fact that there are different time zones. There are different calls, whether you're working, whether you're helping out around the house, or whether you're a full-time student. So I try and give them maximal amount of availability to the subject matter so that you can set your own schedule and be responsible for that. Now, having said that, looking ahead to the midterm and the final will be run on Eastern Standard or Daylight Time, depending on where we are in the year. That means that if you happen to be 12 hours removed and you have to write that exam, say the exam's at noon and you have to write it at midnight, that's the price of being in a different place. And there's lots of reasons for us not to keep the exams open for 24 hours or 12 hours, and they all involve cheating. So what we see is, a group of students getting together, one person plowing through the exam ahead of the others, and the others benefiting from the experience of that person. Whereas if I only leave the exam open for that period of time, it happens a whole lot less. Is there no designated lecture time? No, there is not. This is not, there's different delivery modes for courses. This is a self-directed learning course. So the lectures that I've prepared, and I've taken very great care in preparing those lectures, they will be released on a weekly basis for you to watch. You are also going to read from the book on your own time. And we do this office hours just to answer sort of administrative questions and deal with any issues that come up as a group. So no, there's no designated lecture time. There's no time that I sit here and go through the book with you. Now, there's other courses that do that. My courses, the courses that I work on, generally do not. They're a pre-canned lecture. I like to think that they're fairly well done, but they're a pre-canned lecture, and it's up to you to follow through the work. Is the overall course content hard? Well, that's obviously very subjective. I guess the way I'll answer this is the marks in this course are generally pretty darn good. And by pretty darn good, I mean 75 to 80 as an average. And I think that's pretty excellent. I tend to have most of my upper year courses tend to be more like a 71 to 73 average. I don't bell curve or do anything like that. That just seems to be where the students end up each year. So I think it's if you need a 90, I think this is a course that you can certainly do that in. There's not a huge volume of work to go through. The chapters aren't incredibly long. There's certainly some concepts that you have to learn, but I think the text is very good and it lays things out very clearly. And again, I'm here to help. So if you have questions, fire off an email to myself or Jordan, and we're happy to help you get the kind of mark you want. Well, sorry, just give me one sec. What will not work so well is at the end of the course to tell me how you needed a 65 and you got a 60, and oh no, can you just bump my mark? Because no, I won't. I'll certainly follow any administrative duty that I have to reevaluate or follow the proper process. But usually when I get email like that, I look through and I find out that the person didn't do an assignment, or they didn't do many quizzes, or they bombed the final, so just take it step by step and do all the work, and there will be no problem in passing this course for sure if you put that kind of work in. Go ahead.
So for the quiz, right? And so that will be all on chapter 1.
That's right. Yep. Your quizzes everything's very distinct. Yep.
So if we do everything in the chapter, read the chapter and all the videos, we should be good for the quiz.
Absolutely. So the quiz is, yes, absolutely. So the quiz is an open book. No one's looking over your shoulder. You're allowed to use whatever resources you want. I mean, I don't want you doing it as a group. There's probably no way that I can tell if you do that. But I would ask you to do it on your own because I want you to actually learn something. But my process would be to read the text, listen to the lecture, and then have the electronic book open as I did the quiz. The quiz is not timed. You have as long as you want to do it. So you can open it up on today and finish it off on Friday, and you can do 2 questions, every 5 hours or whatever it works out to. So there's no reason. You can save your quiz and resume it later. Once you submit it, it's submitted, but you can save it and resume it later. But I would give myself, you'll find that the quizzes probably honestly take no more than half an hour. But if you gave yourself an hour or hour and a half to do them and didn't do them at the last minute, then you should be able to find the questions right in the answers to the questions right in the text by doing keyword searches and such. But I would encourage you to actually read the text and listen to the lecture. The lecture is optional. So the lecture is just to help you out. The text is absolutely important and mandatory.
Okay, so we can resume it anytime we want. You can save the quiz and then come back to it later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, okay. You can. So if you're just hung up on something and you start your quiz on Wednesday, well, just go ahead and save it and, come back to it when you have a second, to finish it off.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so I just wanted to, I've pretty much said what I wanted to say.
Sorry, is there a set time for the quiz or no?
Meaning a number of hours or minutes that you can do it?
Yeah.
No, No, there's no limitation. There's no clock.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so the quiz will be available again Saturday morning. Like, this is assuming, of course, that you've done your mandatory course requirements and your academic integrity modules. The quiz will be sitting there from Saturday very, very early in the morning until Friday at a minute before midnight. Okay, it's due at 11:59. That's not 11:59:59. It's 11:59. Just so you know, that's how Blackboard works. That's not my choice. Go ahead. I see a hand up for, I believe, Meg.
Yeah. So are all the quizzes and the midterm on Blackboard, or is there going to be another place?
They're going to be delivered on Blackboard. Everything's going to be delivered on Blackboard. With, I guess, the exception that when we assign the written assignment, which I'll talk about more in a subsequent week. When we do that, you'll be doing that in a Word document, and you'll again be submitting it through Blackboard. Everything will run through Blackboard.
Yep. Thank you so much, sir.
So make sure to check your marks regularly. Make sure to look at the feedback if there's feedback left for you. And if it looks like you've missed something or I've made a mistake, it's not like I can't make a mistake in marking. It happens every so often. Feel free to reach out, and I will certainly look at that again and make sure that I haven't inadvertently undermarked something or missed something or whatever. So,
I for the AIM, I actually submitted the wrong thing, and
yep.
as you said, yeah. So is it possible that you can recheck it again?
Yeah, so you just have to resubmit. You can submit as many times
Okay.
with AIM, just like with the mandatory course requirements. You just submit it again, and it'll come up in my
Okay.
and I'll remark it. So no worries.
Okay. Yep. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I am strict in terms of deadlines. There, when we start talking, if you look at the syllabus page, you'll see the penalties for late submission. You'll see that there's 10% per day or part thereof that you're late on the written assignment, and that the quizzes, once they're closed, they don't get reopened. So I'm strict about that because that's the only way I know about being fair. If you had a medical emergency or something, of that sort of thing, we can have that discussion privately as well. The other thing that I would say, if there's anyone that is needing accommodation, there's a whole process at Trent for accommodation. That is the Center for Academic Studies. I'm not sure, that's not right. I will, give me 1 second. I'll tell you what they're called. They are called.
Yeah, I did the accommodation SAS.
Yeah, Student Accessibility Services. Sorry, a little gap there. So they're called Student Accessibility Services. So if you believe that you have a reason that you need more time, for instance, in an exam, you need to reach out to the SAS advisors, and they will do an assessment with you. There's a whole process that has nothing to do with me, but they send me an email and they tell me what your accommodations are, and I follow that to the letter. So you would automatically be given a little extra time on your exam, depending on the assessment, or if it's more likely if we're in class, if we were in a physical class, that certain accommodations would be made, whether you needed a piece of equipment to read, so you needed audio, so because you couldn't see or whatever, right? So, but Student Accessibility Services, if you have any sort of accessibility need, they're the people to reach out to, and they will work with you and give me an assessment for you, and I will accommodate you in whatever way needs to be done. Okay. I think that's all that I have. That's all that I wanted to kind of cover, but I am open to any questions. Anyone have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or put up a hand or just go ahead and start speaking. What?
When we're done both, the mandatory one and the AIM, do we have to message you again, or do you know?
You don't have to message me. I have something called a grading center, and it automatically queues up for me what needs to be graded. So I just go through that several times a day and just clear that out. And by clear it out, I mean mark all the things I need to mark. The Blackboard, I mean, it's a bit clunky in some ways, but it helps both of us very much. So it helps keep everything sorted. It tracks the time when you submit things. It allows me to put feedback to you without going back and forth with email and having to search through it that way. It's pretty good that way. I guess what I normally do is kind of go through the week coming. So give me a second and I will do that. So I'm just going through the syllabus here, and we're on week 1 now. Last partial week was the introduction. So week 1 is the 13th to the 19th. And you should be reading chapter 1, Managing in the Digital World. So this course is pretty straightforward in that it is 10 chapters in the book, and it's in that order, 1 through 10. So we don't hop around. It's not a 30 chapter book or anything like that, where we go 1, 7, 4, 9, whatever. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, just like that. 1 chapter a week, and the chapter quiz for that week. So that's all we've got for this week is Managing in the Digital World, chapter 1, and then the quiz. So you've got, if you go to the tab, course content, that will show you the chapter 1 folder. Inside that, I describe what the learning outcomes are, and those are really good to know. In terms of essay questions, they often make up essay questions as we get to exams. And then the requirements. It tells you exactly what I expect of you. So it's, I think, super clear. I don't think there'll be any real confusion. So for instance, the requirements this week are read chapter 1, watch the video lecture, watch the videos. So I sometimes include a couple extra videos. In this case, I've got types of information systems and what is a business intelligence unit, or sorry, what is business intelligence? And those are just some quick YouTube videos to watch just to give you some more background. And then you need to complete chapter 1 quiz and be prepared to discuss readings and videos, meaning assimilate this information so that you're ready when we come to a midterm to be able to talk about those in essay answers and multiple choice. So the nice thing is that the same pool of questions in those quizzes that you're doing, you're going to see them again when we get to the midterm. So take your time, understand those, do well on your quizzes, and you will automatically do well in the multiple choice portion of your quiz. Everyone gets a different quiz, by the way. It's from a pool of questions. So you're not going to get the same quiz as your roommate or whatever. It's going to be sorted differently, and it's going to be 25 questions out of a much larger pool than that. So yeah, just I would say the things that I would be thinking about, if you haven't already done your academic integrity module, you haven't already done your mandatory course requirements quiz, get those things done. And get your chapter reading done, but also take some time and navigate through Blackboard and just understand what's available there. There'll be more things added as we go along. I've got some things hidden on my end because they're not relevant yet, but for now, understand, take a look at the getting started, take a look at the syllabus for sure. Course content's essential. Read the announcements every day. If there's a new announcement, make sure you read it. And then you've got your assignments and assessments. Assessments are where you find your quizzes for now. General discussions is where you can ask questions. It's kind of a water cooler thing. so that you can ask questions of your peers. I will weigh in. I'll check that once a day and respond to anything, any thread that's kicking around. And then you've got Zoom, which you obviously found that tab, and then Blackboard Help, library subject guides. Those are made by Trent, allow you to understand how everything works. My grades is important to check just to make sure you're getting the feedback necessary. There's a final exam tab, which I will hide right now, which wouldn't have shown you anything anyways. At the end of the year, that'll pop up again if you're doing it online. The expectation for this course is that it's going to be an in-person final exam. We'll see what COVID has to say about that. We haven't done that in a couple of years at this point, but I really hope that we can do that this time. It'll be in person with an option to do a proctored online exam. So if you're sitting in India or the UK right now, and you're thinking I'm not coming back to write this exam, don't worry about it. You would have an online option. Okay. Any other questions for me at this point?
Can you repeat the last part you just said?
Sorry, say again.
The exam part?
The last part?
Yeah.
So I just said, sorry, I may have turned away from my mic. What I said was that there's going to be 3 options for the final exam, assuming COVID doesn't interfere. 1 is to write in Peterborough, 2 is to write in Durham, and 3 is to write online with a proctored online exam. So that's if COVID doesn't interfere. So if you're living somewhere else in the world and taking this course and other courses remotely, you'll be able to write it online. You won't have to fly into Canada come December to sit down in Peterborough and write the exam with everyone else. So not to worry about it. Okay. If you don't have any further questions, feel free to carry on with your evening. I will wait around here until no one's asking questions or everyone has left. And I'm happy to correspond with people by email or talk privately. If you need some help, we can always set up a time. But I don't want, like I said, I don't want to get into the habit of doing a once a week with someone just to provide tutoring services, because there's just too many people in the class to do that. All right, guys. Well, welcome to the course, and I'll just wait around and see if anyone's got any further questions. Thank you very much.
I got a question.
Yeah.
I'm not in Oshawa, but do we also have a option to do a proctored online exam too, or?
I think so. I'm not sure of that, to be quite honest. I think everyone has the option. Yeah, I don't think I think you are given a choice halfway through the term, and you determine where and when you want to write. And
Oh, okay.
you could write in Oshawa. You could write in Peterborough if you want to drive to Peterborough, or you could go online, whichever.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, not a problem. Take care.
I had a question. If we email you on the weekend, do you answer? I mean, you did last time, but just making sure.
Yeah, I try and answer email within 24 hours. That's always my goal. If it was something really quite complicated or I had to reach out to someone else, I'd probably answer and say, I'm passing this along, I'll get back to you. I pride myself in always answering email. Having said that, I prefer not to have emails asked of things that I've already discussed, for instance, in the announcement section. But no, I answer as quickly as I can for email. So the first quiz will be released as soon as I get a chance to mark your submissions, which, like I said, I take a look at yours, the needs grading. I've got a needs grading tab. So I see you've got that you've submitted your test. I can go through that. I'll do that in the next 5 minutes or so, and you should have access at that point, presuming that you got perfect on your test. Okay. Good. Okay.
Sorry, I just have a weird question. This course is related to the computer, so is this course gonna give us some coding questions or something like that?
There'll be no coding whatsoever on this course. Nothing like that at all. It's
Okay.
yeah, it's more theoretical. It's more about systems. I mean, we may talk a little wee bit about coding. You'll not do any coding for this course at all.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That was my only concern. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I had a question. So going to the module where we submit the image.
Yes.
I submitted one. Do you allow to submit two? I submitted the wrong one last time, so how do I submit the right one?
Yeah, just submit again. Absolutely.
But it only says an option to say okay. It doesn't say anything else.
I don't think I understand. What do you mean by that?
It doesn't give me an option to upload.
I've got lots of people that have done multiple submissions.
Oh wait, never mind. Sorry, that was a stupid question.
You found it?
Thank you.
Okay. Good. Manal, you should be good to go as far as your academic integrity module. I just marked that and it was good.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. If no one has any further questions, I'm going to sign off. I'll post a recording of this. You know where to find me if you need me. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. See you guys next week. Good luck this week. Take care.
Thank you so much for responding to me.
No problem. Take care.